Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the K2 Connect booth once more. We are here at RE Plus in Anaheim, California for 2024, the largest solar convention in the West Coast. And I have a very special guest, Michael Amati with Jinko Solar. So, Mike, welcome.
Thank you.
Great to have you.
Honored to be invited over here.
Yeah,
Love it.
Thanks
Thank
a
you
lot.
so much.
We're going to be discussing a few different things, a little bit of industry, and also I wanted to kick it off by asking, Mike, how did you get started in the solar industry? What grabbed you by your heartstrings and said, I want to do solar?
So I'll try and keep it short because I've been in the industry for 20 years now.
20 years now. So when did you get started?
We've only got 30 minutes here, right? I got lots of stories.
When did you get started?
I started back in 2004. I was in college back then.
Okay.
And at the university that I went to, they didn't have a solar program. I was studying to become a mechanical engineer. And so the beauty with being a mechanical engineer is they give you a little bit of everything, a little bit of electrical, a little bit of mechanical. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to get into the automotive industry back then.
Okay.
Because that was where my passion was. Love cars, designing, things like that.
Right.
Friend of mine approached me and said, hey, my dad owns a residential solar installation business. Could you come and help us out being our CAD design engineer for residential applications?
So that's how you got your kickoff.
That's how I got my kickoff. It was a part-time job. I needed some money and whatnot, and from there it was just a snowball effect. Was with them for a couple of years, and was then approached by the number one module manufacturer at the time, Sharp Electronics or Sharp Solar. Was with them for 10 years.
So you went from boots on the roof.
Boots, straight
installing
in.
solar panels, carrying them up there.
And then at Sharp, I was their training manager, and I trained other residential contractors, both roofers, electricians, how to design and install residential systems. Did that for 10 years. Probably trained over 4,000 installers across the country, coast to coast. And then was approached by Jinko in 2016. Been with them now for 8 years. And so my role currently is I'm their senior applications engineer. And I'm responsible for all pre-sale, post-sale, and during construction technical support. Residential, commercial, utility, any module that comes in and gets thrown up onto a roof or out in the field.
Mike has seen it and approved it.
Yeah, it's more like, it's got the Amati stamp of approval on
That's
it.
That's fantastic. So when you got started in the industry, how small was it compared to now with there's so many people involved?
You know what, it's funny you say that because so this being, I think it's the 20th anniversary.
20th anniversary, not only of K2, but of RE Plus as well.
So, but I go back to the SPI days.
Yes, that's
okay,
we've
where
heard
it
that
used
a lot.
to be.
Tell us more.
So SPI, Solar Power International.
Yes.
I was just looking back during the show because I'm like, okay, 20th anniversary, and I remember my very first SPI was in San Jose. And I thought, well, was that the first one? But I Googled it, and no, 2004, first one was in Washington. No, excuse me, Sacramento, I think is what it was. Okay.
Okay.
Number 2 in 2005 was in Washington, D.C. Number 3, 2006 was in San Jose. And, then it goes on and on and on. Los Angeles, Las Vegas, all over the country. And of all those that have, followed, I think I've probably missed 1 or 2.
So you have basically witnessed and participated in the growth of this industry since when?
2004.
A lot of changes.
Lots of changes. Like we were just talking, you walk around the show floor today and you'll see some of these modules that have 16 bus bars, maybe a couple more, maybe a couple less. But back in 2004, 2005, there was like maybe 3.
I wanted to sprinkle in a little bit of experience of my own here. When I started in 2010 and I first got exposed to the solar industry, we were hooting and hollering about modules being 245 watts.
Oh,
yes.
no, mine were even less than that.
So,
our residential modules at the time, back then, the largest was 187, and it went down to like 142.
Yeah,
It
and
was just
here at the booth at K2, we have Jinko Solar's Eagle modules, which are 440 watts and still maintain a very compact and manageable
yeah,
footprint.
yeah.
You guys
Basically,
have done great work
the
to
footprint of that 440 G6R is probably comparable to what the Resis were back in 2004, and those were 180 watts. So it's
Right.
just mind blowing. And to continue on that, I remember like talking about the Resi modules. Let's see what it's like when they hit 200 watts.
I know. Yeah.
Mind blown at 200, and then we're like, okay, let's get to 300. When 300 is there, we're like, oh my goodness, we're at
Yes.
400.
Yep.
And then you go into the utility size modules, and now our G6B and the G6X is maxing out front side at 600. I'm waiting for the day, and I'm sure it's going to be not too far off into the distant future. I'm looking for 1,000 watts.
You think we could do a 1 kilowatt on one module coming in
Well,
the future?
bifacial with that bifacial factor. I
Yeah.
mean, because right now, depending upon the conditions, we're over 700.
It's
So it's not that far off.
what a time to be in the industry. Actually, Jinko does so much in their innovation. They take care of everything from cell to frame on that module and the laminate. Tell us a little bit more about like how large is Jinko and how many team members do you guys have in the U.S. and internationally?
Okay. So currently in the U.S., we've got two different groups, if you will. We've got the sales group,
Okay.
which is mostly everybody that's here at the show.
Sales and customer support.
Sales, customer service, engineering, legal, finance. We've got all those valued
Okay.
members. And then we've got our factory team in Jacksonville, Florida.
Tell us more about Jacksonville,
So
Florida.
Jacksonville, Florida, the factory was christened back in 2018. I was there for the ribbon cutting.
Fantastic.
It was
Fantastic.
beautiful, absolutely gorgeous facility. And I was blown away as to how sophisticated, state of the art
Mm-hmm.
back then in 2018. We just went through a whole new renovation process over there. And now we are having a capacity of almost, actually, around 2 gigawatts capacity annually
2
over there.
gigawatts capacity.
2
out
gigawatts
of
capacity
Jacksonville,
over there.
Florida.
We've got
How large is the facility?
650 employees.
650 employees,
Square
made in America.
Footage, I don't know what the square footage is. It's big.
It's a big building.
It's a big building.
So 200,000 square feet, something like that.
Yeah, it's a big building. But again, I didn't think it could get any better, and it just amazes me. Now they've got these automated robots that are moving the modules around on the floor. I mean, it's incredible. It's
Yeah.
absolutely incredible.
What a time to be alive. So a lot of technology packed into what you guys do, a lot of
Absolutely.
engineering, a lot of customer care. So over 600 employees in Jacksonville.
650 in Jacksonville, and we've
Wow.
got 50 here. So in the U.S., we got about 700, but globally, because we are a #1 global manufacturer, we've got, I think, about 40,000 globally across 160, I think, countries.
Wow.
I mean, yeah, it's pretty incredible.
You guys have a lot of adoption in the industry, and people love your products. People are ecstatic about your guys' services and what you guys provide. You are here in California, aren't you, Mike?
I am. Yeah, I'm born and raised here, Huntington Beach, just down the street. Live here with my family. Of course, Jinko's U.S. sales office is in Northern California.
In the Bay Area?
Yeah,
or-
we just
okay.
actually last month moved from San Francisco down to the San Jose area. We're in Campbell now.
Oh, fantastic.
so-
South Bay?
South Bay, yeah, South
You guys-
Bay.
And you guys have representation all across
All
America.
over the country. We've got folks here in Southern California, Northern California, Texas, Florida, Boston. I mean, we are just scattered all over the country.
So all of you guys, if you're listening, if you want to get in touch with Jinko, they're great people. Their whole team is nationwide. They can support you with anything that you're looking for when it comes to high-performance modules. So tell us more.
Oh boy. Well, I can talk about what we have in the booth right now. So,
Yeah, let's go.
so spinning off of the factory. So when we did this renovation at the factory in Jacksonville, all of our product now is N-type TopCon.
Okay.
We're trying to make it simple for everybody. So we've got 3 SKUs right now. We've
Okay.
got, like we already mentioned, the G6R. That's our residential all-black 440-watt module.
Let's unpack N-type cells.
Okay.
Tell us a little bit more about that.
So N-type is a newer type of technology. The old stuff was all P-type.
Right.
It's much, much more efficient. I think the step up from the old P-type to the N-type was like 3-4% increase.
Okay.
Typically, when we've made a little tweak here and there to our efficiencies, it's like a 0.5% here, 0.5% there, like by changing the number of bus bars or doing something else. But this was a much bigger jump, transitioning from P-type to N-type. One other added benefit to the P-type, or excuse me, to the N-type, is its temperature coefficient.
Got it.
So, with respect to power, in hotter climates, these produce more power, or you could say they degrade less in
So
hotter
the
climates.
D-rating is less on the N-type.
Correct.
So
correct.
because it's more flexible with temperature, and it can take a little bit more
Correct.
demand on that type.
And of course, if you were fortunate enough to be here this week, we've been experiencing this ridiculous heat wave. So the panels, out in the deserts would have been doing very, very well this week. But
Good to hear.
thankfully, that heat wave is now gone. It's much more comfortable here. But still, beautiful panels. They produce very, very well in hotter climates.
When it comes to the construction of a solar panel, let's go into that a little bit deeper here.
Okay.
So we know that it needs silicon, right?
Yep.
We know that it needs a junction box.
Yep.
It needs glass.
Mm-hmm.
What else is involved in the manufacturing of it?
So
there's so many ingredients.
there is.
that come into
Yeah,
place.
I mean, like I'm just visualizing the lines in Jacksonville right now. So first things, the cells come in. They're already been, having their wires and their tabs applied to it.
Mhm.
Excuse me, fingers on there. First thing, the cells get, loaded into the tabbing machine. They all get wired up in series. And then they have these suction cup machines that then place them on the substrate, the glass. They then get wired together in series and in parallel. Checked for any micro cracks, EL imagery. And then the frames come back on, and, I'll try and streamline it for you. But it's, you got the frames are very, very crucial because of the fact that in Florida, as we were talking about earlier, the wind is just so important,
Yeah.
and to have that high wind rating. So we've got now, in conjunction with you guys, we can sustain those higher winds in the Florida market, Miami-Dade, and things like that.
Yeah.
Because that's a huge, going back to my history, back in
Yes.
2006, whenever you said the word Miami-Dade, no engineer wanted to approach that. It was like the problem child. It was just terrible. But now we're embracing it. The market is flourishing out there. And now we've got solutions to make that more feasible.
Right, and a lot of people might not know there are dozens of parts in the finished product of a solar panel. So, like Mike was explaining, it's aluminum, it's the silicon
glass,
cell,
and now
the glass.
And now the hail.
So they have to do so much work at Jinko to make sure that they produce a positive outcome for their end user,
Yeah.
a great product for you guys to lean on for decades. So in conjunction to what we do with working with Jinko and making sure that our products are compliant with your guys' rigid engineering standards, I actually have a gift for you, Mike.
Uh-oh.
So I wanted to give you one of the products that we debuted here at the show,
Okay.
which is called the Cross Clamp.
Okay.
This is our brand new, we launched this in February at Intersolar in San Diego.
Okay.
Or debuted it, excuse me.
Uh-huh.
But it's already UL listed. It's already certified with your guys' modules.
Beautiful.
And this is my gift to you.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
So go ahead, crack it open.
Crack it open.
Yeah.
Does it slide out?
It's just like a shoebox. Just open it.
Just like. Oh, there it is. Okay. Oh, wow, that's pretty. Wow, this is gorgeous.
Yes. So it comes with a custom
Yeah.
K2 socket, and inside is the
Wow.
cross clamp.
With all the
So-
dimensions and everything, that's great.
Yeah, schematics. It has a QR code for the video and installation.
There you go.
If you want to get one, you can come by the K2 booth here at RE Plus here in Anaheim. My gift to you, Mike, for sitting down and talking with us. We took a lot of care in the development of this product, and I think we even showed this to you kind of before it was launched.
Maybe a
Yeah,
little bit, but
so-
we didn't want to let the cat out of the bag, right?
So here at K2, we actually take clamping of modules very seriously. We understand that it's literally the last part that gets installed. So we engineered the cross clamp to be a very robust, high mass clamp with tons of contact a lot of contact on the frame of your guys' modules.
Yeah, and didn't you say, and I don't think you mentioned it here on the podcast, but didn't you say this is the end clamp, or you said this could be both an end clamp and a mid clamp,
It
right?
can be. So
Okay,
what
yeah.
we've decided, we interviewed a lot of installers, a lot of distributors, and even end users, homeowners about the performance of these kind of products. How does it look? How do you want it to look? What are your wants? What are your needs? And after interviewing a bunch of people, a large audience of people, we decided that it would be great if we designed the clamp to be both end and mid,
Yeah.
one part.
One part, one SKU. Yeah, I mean, remember back in the day in my residential in the design stages, not only was I doing all the design work, but I was also managing all of the parts that were coming in and
Yes.
all the mid clamps that I had to order, and all the oh gosh, just the number of SKUs, and then the rails would be coming in different lengths. It was a headache.
It is. It's a
headache.
lot to manage because it is like a construction site.
Yeah.
There's so many different parts you need. You need cable, you need racking, you need mounts, you need modules, you need junction boxes, all of these things.
All the wire management stuff.
All
Yeah,
the
it's
wire
just-
management stuff. It all bundles together to get you an end result for the end user so they can have solar on rooftops.
Yeah.
So we took a lot of care into building this clamp for you guys, not just for you guys, for everyone who uses our systems, and it just makes it easier on everybody. The clamp is very robust, and we're happy to give it to you.
No, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Like I said, it's beautiful. It's really, really nice. Yeah, and just the fit and finish of it, it's definitely well made. It's definitely well made. Looks
Here
nice.
at K2, everything is German and Mexican engineered. We have we have a collaboration with all of our engineering and product development team. So we really take a lot of care into what we do, and we want the outcome of your guys' installations to be super positive, and everybody's happy with the outcome.
Awesome.
So, Mike, tell us a little bit more about what your vision of the industry would be. What do you think is coming next?
Well,
What are we going to see in 2025, 2030, with everything that we've experienced so far?
well, one thing that's popping off right now is in the booth we were talking about how number one, our G6 X module.
Okay.
That is basically our G6B. It can be commercial or utility-based, bifacial, dual glass, the N-type product, of course.
Right.
But the X is because it's a big issue right now, hail.
Right.
In Texas and Midwest and whatnot. That is the first product or first module on the market that I'm aware of that has been UL tested and approved for 55 millimeter hailstones.
Wow. So you guys do a ton of testing when it comes to all these territorial demands.
Absolutely.
Ice, hail, high wind.
100%. All of the third-party testing that we've done with RETC, with PVL, and that's another thing. Back in 2004, 2005, 2006, we were that manufacturer I was with, number one at the time. There wasn't that much testing that was being done.
I don't think so either.
I don't remember doing any. I mean, we had our own internal testing, but the external third-party stuff, far and few testing labs existed, and it wasn't done. Sure, we had the UL standards, the IE standards, and things like that, but the amount of testing that we've done today and yesterday and just in past years, it's mind-blowing how much testing we go through to ensure that, yes, these panels will stand up to the test of time, 25, 30-year warranties, and to survive, our current weather conditions.
Right.
It's amazing. I mean, there are no other products out there that go through this much testing and have this type of reliability, and it's incredible. It's absolutely incredible the amount of time and effort that goes into making sure that what we are selling, what we're convincing or telling our customers, that these are the best things you can possibly own in the market today.
That's fantastic, Mike. Yeah. What do you think we can see next in the industry? Is it going to be more batteries? Is it going to be? You had mentioned earlier that we could possibly see one day a 1 kilowatt module.
I'm sure we will, but you won't see it in
our
2025 or 2026. I'll tell you that.
Probably not.
Probably not that. I think the next biggest thing that you'll probably see here, and it's starting to trickle out, is 2,000 volt.
Wow.
2,000 volt.
So is that going to require like a higher gauge wire or bigger diodes? Tell us more.
So again, going back to 2004, and I'll just preface it.
Yeah.
600 volt was the thing back then, 600 volt DC system size, and then when they announced the 1,000 volt, again that was a mind blowing event. And then a few years later, then they go 1,500.
1,500
We're like,
volts.
oh my goodness, that's just amazing. And now they're starting to talk about 2,000. We've got the first UL listed certified connector for 2,000 volts.
Is that going to take a new type of module, or
It's the same technology that we've got, but there's a little bit difference of size in that form factor. Footprint is just a little bit wider and taller to allow for creepage distance. The easiest thing I can think of to let people know about it is think of like a welder. Okay, the problem is if your cells are too close to one another,
they'll start to
because of that higher voltage, you'll have arcing inside the cells or from one cell to the next, just like how a tip is on an arc welder. So we have to make those cells a little bit spaced out more so there's not that arcing. And because of that, you have to increase the overall length and width ever so slightly.
And I mean, imagine this in like decades and decades ago, 100 years ago, maybe 120 years ago, we didn't even have electricity.
No. And
so
now, like,
we've gone from nothing
to this
2,000 volt modules coming in the future.
Yeah.
So it's what a time to be in the industry. Tell us a little bit more about how people can find out more about Jinko.
So awesome. Yeah, great question. We've got a website. It's jinkosolar.us. Again, jinkosolar.us. That is the site that is specific to the U.S. and Canada markets.
Got it.
All of our data sheets are there. All of our installation manuals are there. Module certificates. Everything you would possibly want, you can find there. If you unfortunately land on jinkosolar.com, that is the global
site.
Yeah, so rest of the world outside of the U.S.
So
and of course,
.us.
Yeah, .us. Remember .us. And then of course, there are other regions like in Europe, they've got .eu. But again, for the U.S., that is the site that is specific to us that has the most relevant documentation for here in the U.S.
So regardless of whether you're in America, Jinko is international.
Oh, absolutely.
So
like I said,
is there a continent that you guys aren't in right now?
No.
I mean, I've seen your guys' products in Hawaii. We know that it's in all over the West Coast here in California. You guys are having your factory in Jacksonville, Florida. Do you have anything south of the equator?
In terms of
availability of your products?
Oh gosh, yeah. We've got, like I said, we have folks in Mexico, Latin America, South America. I've got a sales group in Australia. We've got it in Japan, of course, all of Asia, Africa. So we're all over.
Really all over the globe.
Yeah.
You guys are in great hands with Jinko. They have team members internationally. Mike, thank you so much.
No, I appreciate it. This has been great. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
I love to engage with you. Your team is great. Your customers love you. And we're just happy to be a part of it.
No.
I'm happy to give you the cross clamp.
No, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Yeah, and this will be nice.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jinko Solar.
Thank
Mike Amati.
Thank you, guys.
And come to the K2 booth, and right across from us is Jinko Solar. They have a great team. They have great products, and they love their customers. And
As you just saw and heard, right? There's a happy guy over there.
Mike, thank you so much for your time.
All right, thanks so much.
Good to see you, buddy.
Thanks. Yeah, you too.